Hello. Well, it's a beautiful day, though it's cold. And today I want to talk about fear. So, what is fear? Well, there's fear of being hurt, there's fear of being embarrassed, there's fear of not fitting in. All those are fear. But what really is fear? Well, fear is that feeling of separation, okay, from God. And even though you may not really understand or feel how you're feeling that's where it comes from. Okay? We were part of God, okay? And then God took a part of himself and made it a soul. And then he sent it down into your mom's belly. Okay? And that's you. And the fear of being separated from God, or the feeling of being separated from God, engendered fear. Because we were no longer part of something bigger than ourselves. We were all alone. We were all so afraid. Of course, we had our mom around us. Okay, and that sort of tamped down the fear a little bit. But when we were born, okay, then our mom was no longer around us. And so we had mom separation. Okay? And that fear stayed with us. Okay? And that's where fear comes from. The fear of being alone in the universe. Of course, we are not alone in the universe. We're with everybody else on this planet, in this universe. Okay, but that's where fear comes from. And the problem with fear is it's a trap. Okay? If you fear something, then you can't do something else. Okay? That's just what it is. Alright? For instance, I want to be an actor, but I have fright of going in front of a lot of people. So I can't be an actor because going in front of a lot of people makes me scared. Or I want to be an architect, but I'm afraid of learning. I'm afraid of being with a lot of other students, or whatever it is, whatever the fear is. Each person has their own fear. Okay? And over time, these fears that we all have, okay, trap us into what we think our life is. Okay? But we don't really have a life until we awaken. Because you can't experience the wonders of existence without being able to step past the fear. Okay? And you can't step past the fear when you're trapped in it. Okay? You know, you're in a little box. Okay? Totally trapped because you can't step past it. Okay? And that's what awakening is for. Okay? Getting rid of the fear. Now, there's plenty of people that'll tell you that, oh, you need the fear factor. Go, lay in a box of cockroaches or whatever, and that'll take care of your fear, or whatever it is. Okay? The fact is that fear is still there. Okay? I mean, everybody gets afraid. They hear a bump in the night. I'm not talking about that kind of fear. Okay? That's situational fear and doesn't really involve anything at this point. But real deep fear that you feel down deep inside, and and that keeps you from doing what you want to do is the problem. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so I can't think of all the good examples that might apply to you. But you must have some fear in your life because everybody does. And that fear is trapping you, okay? Tighten the grip of not being able to do what you want to do, okay? Now you see on TV these skydivers and building jumpers and wingsuiters and so on and so forth doing something that I personally would not do, okay, because I'd be afraid of dying. And some of them do die, but they don't care because they don't have the fear anymore. They've lost the fear because they've done enough. They had enough courage to get out there and do it, okay? And that's really what it takes. So if you're fearing going out there and being part of the world, okay, try to remember that this fear is not you. You are not fear. Just like you're not depression or unhappiness, you are a soul. And as a soul, you need nothing. You don't need to jump off a building. You don't need to become a wingsuiter. You don't need to dive off cliffs. You don't need any of that stuff. And the reason you don't need it is because doing that makes you feel good. And the goodness you're feeling is your connection with God. Okay? Now, obviously, the wingsuiters don't realize this, but that's what it is. Okay? All happiness comes from your connection to God. That's it all. There's no other happiness. I've heard surfers talk about how, the happiness of being in the wave and all that. Okay? But really, that's the connection with God. Okay? Just like being with people that you love. That's a connection to God, too. Or being in nature. Because you're connecting with part of nature. And what is nature? Nature is God. If you're jumping off a cliff, you're connecting with the water. You're connecting with the cliff. If you're jumping out of an airplane, you're connecting with the sky. Okay? And that feels really, really good. And I'm not saying it doesn't. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. But a lot of times, the fear sort of paralyzes you. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Okay? Remember, you are a soul. Okay? So you need not fear anything. You're not separate from God. You're not separate from everybody else. We're all one thing. Okay? And as that one thing, there's no reason to fear. There's no reason to feel separate. Separation is an illusion, okay? And that illusion is trapping you into feeling alone. But you're not alone. You are with God. He's there all the time. I mean, I don't know if God is what I mean, because I've never met God, okay? I don't know what he looks like. He probably doesn't look like anything, okay? But God is a handy word to use because everybody knows what that is, okay? So, when you're connecting with God and he's right there, that's when you feel good. That's when you feel happy, okay? And when you're not connecting with God, then you have the separation, the feeling of being alone, the feeling of fear, okay? And really, that's, what it's all about, not having that, okay? And fear can do more than paralyze you, okay? Fear can make you into somebody you don't want to be. And that's happened to me, because I spent 4 years in an unconscious state. Okay? And I felt fear, and I felt separation, and I felt all of it. And I didn't like it. But thankfully, something happened. And enough suffering came my way that I was able to awaken. Okay? And I don't want everyone in the world to have suffering in order to awaken. I want people to awaken because they're letting go. Well, that's the big key. You gotta let go. Okay? You gotta accept who you really are. Obviously, you have a name. Obviously, you have a personality. Obviously, you have a history. But if you let that history rule you, okay, which is what it does, okay, then you are going to be in fear. Okay? Something happened to you way back in the past, and it still bothers you. Why? Because of fear. You need to let go of the past. The past doesn't exist. It's an illusion too. Okay? And as long as you're holding on to something in the past, okay, you're not going to be free. And freedom is really what it's all about. I am trying to help people be free here. I don't know if I'm having any results. And honestly, I don't care. Okay? I'm putting this out there for you. And I'm not attached to having a result. Obviously, I care that somebody awakens. Obviously, I care that there's less suffering because of me. But I'm not attached to having a result. Okay, I don't spend every waking minute looking at YouTube trying to figure out how many views I have and blah 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 blah. Okay? But I want you to awaken. And I want you to feel what I feel. Okay? Which is fucking great. It's incredible. Okay? Every day. And I want everyone to feel that. It's better than skydiving. It's better than jumping off cliffs. It's better than going down a ski slope, and jumping. It's better than any of that because it stays. It keeps with you. Okay? So remember who you are. Okay? And let the attachment to your past and your name and what you've done in this life go. Let it go. Okay? Because it's not helping you to be free. And freedom is what it's all about. Nobody wants to be in a box, but you are in a box made for you by everyone else. Your parents, your teachers. And until you break out of that box, you can't have freedom. You're going to have suffering. Well, I guess I've said enough about that. I love you all because you're me. We are all one. Okay? And the sooner that you can accept that that's so, the sooner you'll be free. Alright, well, clock on the wall says it's time to go. Take care and have a great life.